Good morning, this is Stuart from We Sell Homes in Paradise, down on the beach for another beachside broadcast. This is my beloved Torre Guadiaro, right next to Soto Grande. The sun is breaking through the clouds, as you can see there. There's so much to unpack of late, so much stuff going on in the news. I guess the big talking point for today is the fact that Donald Trump looks likely to win the US elections, so there'll be a Trump administration. Love him or hate him, the markets react very positively to Donald Trump. Now, how does that impact things in southern Spain? Well, there's something called the Trump trade. And the Trump trade is the different reactions on a macroeconomic level to the fact that Republicans will come back into power. What it means for people in Spain, I would imagine, having seen this before, is there'll be a lot of East Coast, West Coast liberals that literally cannot stand to be in a Trump America. So again, we'll probably see a lot of Americans flock to southern Spain or different parts of Spain. And of course, one interesting thing, which I heard from the boys at Martinez Echeverria, who came to my office yesterday to introduce themselves, despite knowing I work very closely with Santiago de la Cruz, is the golden visa will be extended to January time. So there's still time to get in your application. Of course, you have to buy for $500,000. Now, back to macroeconomic and markets and things like this. I expect there'll be a lot more liquidity. I mean, on a personal level, I have a business and popping up on my app was a 40,000 euro business loan. It's never appeared before. And what happens is when interest rates come down, banks get access to cheaper money and they want to deploy that money with individuals and businesses and things. Obviously, they make a spread. So we're going to see more capital available, which will mean people can afford things, which will mean more demand. Now, when we look at southern Spain and we look at Spain in general, there was a really interesting article recently published by Idealista stating that there's 70,000 new build properties coming online this year, but the demand is 200,000. We are still short supplied. So when you wonder why are prices shooting up? Well, there are two factors, as I always mention. The first factor is liquidity. The second factor is the demand outstripping supply. So when you see new builds right on the beach for €1 million for a 3-bedroom, people buy them. In fact, I know of clients who have been offered money from their banks in their home country in order to deploy and buy a holiday home. Why do banks do this? Again, they look at the risk curve. If it's someone with a decent net worth, they're less risky to lend to, so the banks will lend to them. Sadly, us people, mere mortals at the bottom of the food chain, we get access to this capital later on, okay? But generally speaking, there's more liquidity in the marketplace and there'll continue to be more liquidity in 2025. Now, another interesting thing to mention is because of a new Labour government in the UK, what's happening is they're going to put VAT on private education. Now, if you imagine here in Soto Grande, we have the Soto Grande International School. And in fact, I hear that Alcadesa will get a new international school. I believe it's the Yago brand. So international schools are coming online in southern Spain. Obviously, they do their research and they want to know there'll be demand for it. Even Soto Grande International School is looking to expand. So if you're sending your kids to a traditional private school in the UK and now have to pay VAT on top, you start looking elsewhere. And of course, I mentioned the golden visa, but there's also, the digital nomad visa, as well as the Beckham law, which helps people with higher incomes optimize their taxes, let's say. So Spain is very attractive for immigration and the demand will keep on rising. Another interesting thing happening in Soto Grande, as we heard, and there's no smoke without fire, but the Saudis will buy Soto Grande. I believe it's for 500 million, so $500 million. Now, why would the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund buy Soto Grande? They, again, do their research. They know that it's a very strong brand and it's poised to grow even further, okay? If you compare Soto Grande to Marbella, basically you have lower density, bigger plot sizes, and of course, you have a different kind of setup. It's built around sports, family life, a quieter life, it's a gated community, security, and this becomes very attractive for people with money. And of course, the main thing to talk about, which is a very sad thing to say, is what's happening in Valencia. Obviously, no one wants 300 odd people to pass away because of a natural disaster. But if you join the dots, the Spanish government are going to have to fund the rebuild of Valencia. And how do you fund things? Well, you have to print more money, because I believe they need to come up with 30 billion euros in order to do so. Taxes will go up. It has to be paid for eventually. And by printing money, you get inflation. So property prices will rise more. It's a sad state of affairs. This is what's happening in the world. And the only way to protect yourself, sadly, is by optimizing your taxes, owning hard assets, investing, because working hard, as much as it's what we've been taught to do, doesn't get you where you need to get to. You need to invest, however small, property, in the stock market or whatever, but please invest something. It's how you can protect your future and help your kids in the future when they come to want to get onto the property ladder. So here are some basic thoughts on a Wednesday. Have a great week ahead. See you.